Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and this is a slight change, and I was planning to do a Predaking one, but then I thought, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna save him for a different subject here. But today we're gonna be doing another Can They Solo the Monsterverse, and this one is inspired by, obviously, Godzilla versus everyone's favorite, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Except today we're gonna be using the Thundersaurus Megazord from Dino Thunder. Now, this took me a while to make, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll be putting the Thundersaurus through the same situations as Nergigante, Zilla Jr., Bayverse Optimus, and Showa Gamera. And in all honesty, the results may surprise you for how this is going to go. We'll also be focusing here on the Thundersaurus Megazord only. So no Triceramax, no Dino Stegazord, none of that. However, he will be able to call in his auxiliary Zords to help them. Only two at a time and not all of them at once, alright? So he'll only be able to have two Zords per battle, alright? And depending on what Zord pretty much fits the capabilities, we'll be talking about that as well. So without further ado, let's begin here and we'll get into the Thundersaurus Megazord scaling. Now, this is actually pretty simple in all honesty, and we can easily scale the Thundersaurus Megazord off of simply Tommy's generation. Tommy has gotten stronger throughout each iteration of himself, and this means he would be stronger than, honestly, Zed at the point where Dino Thunder arrives here. Meaning the Dino Megazord should be a lot stronger than, well... the Thundersaurus Megazord should be stronger than the Dino Megazord, or is stronger than the Dino Megazord. Same Dino Megazord that was able to destroy Alpha 1's Kaiju body, who was able to tank planetary explosions. And these are like large planet to star level type of explosions and stuff, as they're also able to take attacks from Rita and Zed, who are capable of obliterating planets and stars as well, giving them that star to possibly even solar system level scaling. So without further ado, let's begin, starting off with the fodder. And obviously, we always start off with the skull crawlers. And I think it's pretty easy and simple. Why? The skull crawlers are just no match for this Megazord at all. They haven't been a match for anyone on this list. Dear God. I mean, shoot, maybe the last contestant here should give the skull crawlers a win. But dear God, that's probably unlikely. Next up, we got Warbats. Dinner. They're just straight up cannon fodder. They're meaningless. They're minuscule in comparison. And I mean, if Kong can manhandle them, and this is like a Kong who had never encountered them before, and he was still manhandling them, yeah, one Dino Drill, or basically the Zords individually, in all honesty, would solo. Like, they would just slap all together. Like, so yeah, the Skull Crawlers and the Warbats are just really just fodder here, and they really have no business being in this kind of fight. Sure, they may wrap around, try to burrow, maybe even try to, like, poison or try something with the Megazord. I don't know. They would try their hardest, but it would be in vain. Next up, we got Methuselah. And just like in every other video, disappoints me. But again, he's getting clapped. Dino Drill to the skull or Triceratops to the face. It just does not matter. That is, in all honesty, it's just a wrap, just like then and there. Now, next off, we have Nikika. Now, granted, Nikika will be a tad bit difficulty. I mean, like a whole 2% difficulty. Now, the reason why I say that is because Nikika has her camouflage ability, and she's also a water titan. So, yeah, I guess that could be, you know, some trouble for the Power Rangers because they don't have anybody. Oh, wait, they actually do. And it's the Stegozord. Yeah, believe it or not, the Stegozord actually gives the Dino Megazord, the Thundersaurus Megazord, idiot, and gives them the capability to surf these gigantic waves that could, like, swallow whole cities. Still wondering why there are no police and Power Rangers till this very day, but it is what it is here. But yeah, they're able to surf these gigantic waves that the Stegozord is able to create, and they're like city-sized waves. There's no doubt about it, because they're able to just like swarm these giant monsters and just drown them in these waves and just finish them off with the Dino Drill. it's just monstrous altogether. Like these, I'm telling you, these Power Rangers are pretty overpowered. The Thundersaurus is really overpowered. Now, next off, we have the Mutos, and in all honesty, I don't know. You know, what I mean by I don't know is I don't know how creative the Rangers could honestly be with that. And in all honesty, the Mutos, yeah, they get bopped. But I'm just kind of like curious on like how would the Rangers do it? Would they just use, the Dino Drill? But again, there's also the sheer fact that they could just summon the Parasaur Zord and just cut them to pieces. I mean, the Parasaur Zord is honestly probably going to be one of the clutch Zords in this entire video because it's meant to bypass an opponent's durability. Even those that can withstand the Dino Drill can't hold up to the Parasaur Zord. Then there's also the Dracozord, which they could simply just call in to give them air support, give them an added boost in speed here. And then they could also just use the Stegozord and the Dragozord combination here just to give them a whole boost. Remember, they're allowed to use these Zords in combination with the main Megazord, not with the, just another whole Megazord just jumping in and helping the Mutos. The EMP wouldn't work either because they've already been able to withstand characters or withstand monsters that can try to shut down their Zords, and it just doesn't work. So honestly, first round, low to no difficulty. Next up, we have the ones with feats. And as usual, we start off with Behemoth. And in all honesty, Triceratops to the face. Or maybe a, a Dino Drill. Or a Terrorang. Again, a base Megazord, it's all that is needed to deal with Behemoth. Yes, Behemoth has his tusk. Yes, he has his limited regeneration and stuff like that with those tusks. I'm not sure if he can regenerate a whole limb, but if he can regenerate his tusk, which are bones, he probably could. But again, base Megazord, all that you need for this here. Now, let's talk about the next one on this list here. And I think this one's actually pretty interesting. It's Amalok. Now, again, the reason why I'm saying it's interesting is because maybe the drill can't get it done. Amalok does have some decent regeneration because of his plant matter, and finding in an area where he's able to use plant matter to regrow himself, it's honestly just very interesting. But again, there's one or two ways they could go about this. One, they just aim for the head, or they just summon good old Dimetrozord. Yeah, the Chainsaw Massacre monster. Yeah, the one that actually was almost taking out the Megazord itself. Yeah, again, these Zords individually can scale to the Megazord. It's pretty consistent with that show. They're able to scale to the Megazord and actually able to give the Megazord a whole boost in power. So yeah, Dimetrozord, GG for Amalok. Now, this is where I guess you could say some difficulty comes with this matchup here. And it's Tiamat. Alright, Tiamat is a very interesting one for the Megazord as well, because again, they have very limited water experience. And the hydrokinesis and its her bladed scales, I should say here, are going to provide some difficulty here. However, again, I can actually see the Megazord tanking it and withstanding it far better than the others. Because again, it's taking higher levels of attacks here. And in all honesty, I actually see it beating Tiamat. I can actually see Tiamat trying to like swallow the Megazord or trying to bite it, but then they're able to like hold it off with the Triceratops and then just drill into its skull. Again, I think I killed Tiamat in some of the most gruesome ways possible. But again, it's because she puts herself in those kind of situations. However, there's also the possibility that if they do get away and they are able to use the Stegozord, it's very possible that they could possibly use the Ankylozord here. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure here, but the Ankylozord could provide an extra propeller for them using the Ankylozord's, I guess you could say, better spin function and its shield mode to block a lot of teammates' damage. Plus, again, going against a drill that spins in multiple directions, with it being both a drill and a shield at the same time, capable of reflecting the enemy's attacks back at you, it's very possible that it could possibly, and again, this is going by a possibility here, that it could reflect teammates' own scales against her, and again, would possibly give her a much more gruesome death then drilling through a skull. In all honesty, the Thundersaurus double drill combination is probably one of the deadliest ones on this list here, to be honest. It's pretty much one of the most synchronized combos here. But moving on, we now have Mothra and Rodan, two of the fastest monsters in the Monsterverse. Both of them having relativistic to possibly even faster than light scaling. Yes, you can actually get the Monsterverse to faster than light, as you can scale them off of Godzilla's atomic breath, Ghidorah's gravity beams as well. Plus, Rodan is stated to be the fastest of the monsters, with Ghidorah picking up Godzilla and flying him to the edge of the atmosphere. So, yeah, I think it would be realistic to say that the Monsterverse could even get to Mach 33, even as a low ball. But again, we do know that the Megazord does scale to much faster components of itself, like the Dragozord, which is able to, well, at least in the Japanese series, it's able to basically blitz from ground to earth within a couple seconds here. And then you have the sheer fact that the Dragozord as well is able to dodge laser pulses, in the mainline series. However, this is where I think the toolkit combination comes in, with both the Ankylo drill and the Parasaur scissor formation. And this is the reason why, right? So as you guys can see here, there is a pretty much a fishing hook with the Ankylozord, using a pretty much an energy construct of itself to basically reel in his opponents, and it actually causes them to explode here. But let's say that doesn't work because Mothra and Rodan are far more durable than the monsters in Power Rangers, right? Well, he still could reel them in, and then using the Parasaur just slice him off. The Parasaur just sliced them in half here. So this means he would move on, with round 2 being mid difficulty at best. Now let's move on to round 3, the big boys and the heavy hitters. And we're starting off with, obviously, Muto Prime. Now, Muto Prime is actually a pretty interesting one here, because I actually had to do some research a bit more for it. And again, my opinions for the last videos do not change here. He still gets bopped by Optimus, Zilla Jr., and Nergigante pretty easily, and Showa Gamera pretty easily. But the way he actually dies here is basically Godzilla is able to get underneath him after he shatters his dorsal plates, and he basically just launches him into the air with that nuclear energy, and then when she falls back to the ground, he just steps on her. Keep in mind, Godzilla was also able to beat Muto Prime in a physical confrontation, despite the earthquake or the seismic punches. But eventually, yeah, they do become a bit more overwhelming, if you guys get what I mean here. But again, once that happened, falling from a great height, and you actually see body parts falling off her, I never noticed that myself either, Godzilla just comes around and just crushes her like a bug. So Godzilla is able to brute force his way, against Muto Prime here. It's just that, again, Muto Prime has a hack that can overcome Godzilla's physical strength. But if all it takes is simply brute force, then, well, ring the bell. Because we got the Mike Tyson of the dinosaurs here, the Cephalozord. Yeah. So this guy is basically one of the stronger, I guess you could say physically more powerful Zords in the series. And the reason why is because it's made for brute force. It's made to punch through its opponent's defenses. Even opponents that are like super hard for the Megazord's own dino drill to get through, yeah, this one is able to punch right through it. But then again, let's say the earthquakes and tremors are giving it such a substantial problem, right? Then, well, Dragozord. Use that to fly around and then dive bomb with the dino drill. GG. Now, next up, we got Mechagodzilla. And dear God, he gets countered so hard. And it's not even funny about how badly the Rangers could do him in, I mean, 1 minute, this guy could, well, let's just start off with the basics here. He could actually use missiles, right? The same missiles that are capable of harming and being able to slow down Godzilla, because Godzilla was actually coming in pretty faster and actually would have still overpowered him in the charge here. Well, then you got the Ankylozord with its drill and shield formation here, being able to reflect and deflect any attack right back to Mechagodzilla. And let's say Mechagodzilla is still able to get close after that and still, go into a physical confrontation with the Thundersaurus Megazord here? Well, then he could just get the Parasaurozord. Yeah, just start snipping him off, bypassing his titanium body. And I'm gonna be real here, the Biozords are way more durable than titanium. I think titanium at this point is a fodder metal in fiction. I mean, you got vibranium, adamantium, Zord metal. It's kind of funny because, again, these Zords are just incredibly overpowered. And Mechagodzilla getting close could wind up getting him ran into with a dino drill. I don't even think that he would stand up to the saw blade of the Dimetrozord. It's just, it would be overkill. And the thing is, though, if Mechagodzilla does try to get close here, what's to stop the Thundersaurus Megazord from even using its basic dino drill and plunging right through him? You know, but again, let's say Mechagodzilla is a little too strong for the dino drill. Okay, then, well, you have the Dimetrozord, which is stronger than that. The Parasaurozord, which just snips and bypasses all the durability that Mechagodzilla has. And then there's the Ankylozord, who can deflect pretty much everything coming at him, including the Proton Scream, which honestly should scale to Mechagodzilla's durability, as, you know, AP and durability do correlate with each other. And in all honesty, Ankylozord is all you really need here. I'm just adding the extra Zords just in case here. Even with the power-up punch here, yes, that could probably send the Megazord flying, as, again, Mechagodzilla does have the size and weight advantage. And along with his attack potency, it should be able to at least, you know, send the Megazord back here. But again, he's not doing anything the Megazord can't handle or deal with, you know. It's got every Zord it needs just to take it out, even using the Cephalozord just to give Mechagodzilla the old 1-2 combo. And again, there's the toolkit combo: fish hook, snip. All right, just pull them in, cut them up, it'd be over. Like, there's, honestly, it's far worse than I expected. And again, I don't mean to laugh, but I didn't think Mechagodzilla got countered this hard. Like, it's one of the worst counters I've ever seen. Worse than the Zilla Jr. breakdown I actually gave not too long ago. But with that being said, he clears that round mid-difficulty. So that means we're at the heavy hitters a lot earlier than I expected here. Kong, fully equipped, Godzilla evolved, Shimo, and King Ghidorah. Well, let's start off with Kong, and I think it's pretty simple here. The Thundersaurus just outspeeds here. Now, yes, Kong has the Lightning Axe and the prototype Beast Glove. I hope they actually wind up, you know, actually making an official one. Not sure if he's going to use it all like that, because I would like to have Kong a little bit more primal, you know. I would still tell him, you know, keep the axe and stuff, but I definitely think he deserves to have at least a kaiju-like weapon, another kaiju-like weapon, a shield or something like that. But again, the Thundersaurus Megazord could just use any combination it wants against Kong. It could use the War Set, as I like to call it, because again, the Cephalozord and Dimetrozord combo is just absolutely overkill. Then there's the sheer fact that, again, just use the Dragozord and Stegozord combination. Outspeed Kong completely. And again, that combination might just be used for Godzilla. And speaking of the king himself, he doesn't have much. His atomic breath, nuclear pulse, he's got great durability and an okay regenerative factor here, but what can he actually do to harm Thundersaurus or to get past his weapons? Sure, he can blast his atomic breath at him all he wants here, but again, the Ankylozord's got that in clutch as well, as does the Dimetrozord. The Dimetrozord might be Godzilla's biggest bane here, because again, the Zords will attack you before they combine with the Megazord. It's just how they are. And again, the Zords scale to the Megazord that has large planet to star level of attack potency. Like, an individual Zord is absolutely broken. All right? And what's crazy about it is here, even with his upgrades into Godzilla Evolved here, with him having his, I think his energy levels are what, 20 times stronger than what they were before? Okay, great. That can just get reflected right back at you. What? That's what the Ankylozord is meant for. I mean, then the Dimetrozord might be able to slice off a limb of Godzilla, if not flat out injure him. Now with King Ghidorah. And again, this one is just as difficult. I do think the Godzilla one is just as difficult, but again, with King Ghidorah and how he is here, his regeneration, his gravity beams. His gravity beams will get deflected back at him, but again, it is going to be a while as it's going to come from all angles. I do think King Ghidorah is a long, dragged out fight here, but I can definitely see the Thundersaurus being able to overcome him. Definitely using a lot of his combinations here, possibly making sure to get 2 heads as quick as possible before ending it with, the 3rd one here. I do think it's going to be difficult. He might just deflect the gravity beam right back to the head itself here. And then using the Dragozord combination or the Dragozord and Stegozord combination, yeah, the Thundersaurus should be able to possibly claim a victory against King Ghidorah here. And again, I do think he can. He scales relative, if not slightly higher than King Ghidorah here. And in all honesty, he doesn't have any of the weaknesses some of the other members of this team, or the other characters, pretty much have here. And last but not least is Shimo, and believe it or not, yeah, he beats Shimo. And this is actually one of the few times the Rangers can actually get creative here. Now, Shimo's Frostbite Blast should be able to freeze the waves that the Rangers are pretty much using against him. But here's the thing, right? What's to stop them from using that against Shimo? And I want y'all to hear me out on this one, right? So imagine the Rangers create that wave of water that they always use with the Stegozord. And you guys are going to see it sometime in this video because it is towards the end here. And what I'm trying to say here is they could use the waves, and again, these are city-sized waves here, to not only use Shimo's own Frostbite Blast against her, but to, in all honesty, use it to probably entrap her, if not crash a giant wave of ice on top of her. Now, again, there are possible ways they could probably try to, close her mouth, or try to get a hold of her or bring her in. But again, the way I see them doing it is by being actually intelligent here. And by using the waves of the Stegozord here that the Stegozord is able to create, they're able to use this in such a way that makes it almost like a Pokemon move, if you get what I mean here. Because again, here you guys can see that the Thundersaurus with the Dino Stegozord is able to create these huge waves in order to beat their opponent. We know and we can see that the monster is standing in these waves as well here, and it just gets obliterated right after. So in all honesty, the Thundersaurus is actually one of the first few people to actually get a 100% completion on here. And in all honesty, it shouldn't be surprising. Power Rangers is pretty overpowered in retrospect. And I think it's very underrated in terms of power here. But hey, that's going to be all for today. You guys, please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope y'all have a blessed day.